What's up, everyone? Welcome to Among the Fence. My name is Aaron. Today we're checking out the 8th studio album, Rated R, by the Christian rock slash metal band Red. Red formed in the year 2002 in a small town called Nashville, and they very quickly found success from their debut and their sophomore albums, which were nominated for Grammys, and then the next 5 albums after that sat pretty comfortably in the single digits on the Billboard 200. Being really into the scene when Red first came around, I was instantly a fan. In fact, I would credit bands like Red, Pillar, even Skillet as kind of gateways that got me into bands like Phineas and Oh Sleeper, and even like Fit for a King, and just harder, heavier, more metal Christian metal bands such as that. And because of that, they will always have a special place in my heart. So when I heard that they were coming out with a new album, sure, it had been a little bit since I've really been into them, I was still pretty excited to hear it. And I had fun going through and listening to their discography. I've listened to them all before, but it's been a really long time since, I've really dissected anything from them. So yeah, let's jump into this thing. Rated R opens up with the song Surrogates. Has a solid riff in the intro that cuts out in the verse, which is basically just vocals that have a lot of anticipation to them. The pre-chorus definitely brings the energy back up, while the chorus is a little bit more mellow. In fact, I thought the pre-chorus was actually the chorus, and I thought the chorus was like the post-chorus. But it does build up as the song goes on. It gets a little bit more presence to it. The breakdown brings the heat as it goes into the final chorus. Has a lot more music backing it that really makes the melody hit so much more. Then we have the song Your Devil is a Ghost. The dynamics in the verse in this are absolutely brilliant, making it flow up and down as it's escalating going into the chorus. The composition in this thing is fantastic. Between the vocal melody that are just really well placed and the chugs and the strings in the chorus, it's super simple, but the more you listen to it, the more it grows on you as you get to hear more of these different sounds. And then we have the song Minus It All. This one felt more like a throwback than anything else, with the whispered vocals and the verse and the soaring chorus. The vocals in the chorus really draw you in, and the drums have a lot of shining moments in this one, but I don't know, it just felt a little bit too old. A lot of the lyrics in most of these songs feel a little cliche and a little generic, like they're not really saying something. Like you have to really decipher it to really find the meaning, and even then the meaning to these lyrics feel like they're very broad. But once you get to the song Cold World, I feel like this is the first one where the lyrics are a little bit more personal, like they're actually saying something. The vocals are held back just a little bit in the mix till the end of the verse where they kind of explode. The pre-chorus and the chorus are absolutely fantastic, and the sound is like a constant descent almost. It's pretty repetitive though, but the drum work helps saves this one, and I feel like the drums are just probably this album's saving grace at this point. We have the song Tell Me How to Say Goodbye. It starts out really slow and intimate, kind of tricks you as it takes an unexpected rather poppy turn as it goes into the chorus, which honestly I kind of enjoyed it. The distorted guitar makes it a little bit more rockier when the second chorus comes around, and the bridge is almost a breakdown thanks to the distorted vocals and the accenting clean vocals that are in there. I enjoy this one just because of how unexpected it was, but otherwise it did feel a little safe at the same time. Then we have the song The Suffering. It has a really cool intro that has like an early 2000s vibe to it. Again, it sounds dated, but I still enjoyed it. The verse is really bassy. The guitar joins in the pre-chorus, and it all sounds great, but it's also kind of predictable at this point. The breakdown is pretty sick. It would have been better if they kept the energy from the breakdown going straight into the final chorus. And I mean, it's basically just like the intro and the breakdown and the outro are the best parts of the song, and everything else is just kind of there. And at this point in the album, I feel like the back half of this thing just, I don't know, it just falls into that throwback feel a little bit too much, with the song Still Bleeding. It plays it a little too safe again with that early 2000s kind of formula. It sounds great, but it's still, I mean, it's just a dated thing. The synth and the keyboard sound really cool though. It gives it like a haunting theatrical kind of atmosphere. It makes it feel like a dream, which helps because it fits the lyrical content of the song. And then we have the song Our Time Will Come. It has a really solid 40-second intro that I enjoyed. The vocals sound great in the verse, and they really stand out in kind of like the more exciting moments, mostly due to the calmness of the vocals, where the music gets a little bit more intense, the distorted guitars get louder. The vocals just have this really cool, calming, grounding melody to them. This is definitely probably in my top favorite songs off of this album. I just wish the lyrics were a little less cliche, but the message in this thing is still good as well. Last Forever definitely feels a little bit more modern, but this time with just a touch of old school Red to it. The enunciation in the chorus is really cool, and the overall rhythm really keeps your attention on this song, where at this point I was kind of starting to daydream a little bit more, especially with each listen. The bridge is kind of repetitive though, with saying call out your name about 13 times. So because of that, it was a little hard to focus and keep basically my attention throughout this entire song. Then we have the closing track, Emergency, which has my favorite riff in the intro, also has the most unique song structure where it goes verse, pre-chorus, verse, and then finally you get the choruses in the bridge. It reminds me a lot of the song Already Over in terms of the strings and the chorus and just the overall melody. I didn't really like the break after the bridge where the intensity is there and then all of a sudden it just cuts off and it just goes right back into the pre-chorus and chorus. It sounded all right. It's a good closing track, but the transitions in it just felt a little weird. I did enjoy the different type of song structure though. It kind of helped break up the monotony of everything else sounding the same. If you really enjoy old school Red from the early to mid 2000s, even into like the 2010-ish years, somewhere around there, this is a really solid throwback. You'll probably enjoy it from the melodies, the use of keys and strings, specifically in the chorus where they kind of hang out in the background a little bit. I mean, it's all there. And because of that, I really enjoy this a lot. However, they might have leaned into that just a little bit too much. A lot of the songs sound very, very close to the same, following the same formula. They have strings or keys in the intro, it builds up into a heavy riff. Then there's like whispered vocals in the verse where it just starts out kind of slow, maybe just some drums as it slowly builds up. And then you get to the pre-chorus, it gets a little bit more tense, and then the chorus is finally there and it's soaring, and it's just like the same thing over and over and over again. With that said though, I still enjoyed this album for the most part for what it is. I mean, these guys have been around for a long time. A lot of bands that have been around for this long that have been this successful, of course, they kind of fall into this sort of sound. I would say that this is my least favorite record outside of Release the Panic. That was probably my least favorite Red album. And of course, you know, it's debatable on which one would be considered the worst amongst fans. But I don't know, I just found myself feeling like this was like a guilty pleasure album for people who really like old school Red, don't really like the new sound. So they came out with this, and also they don't have a label on this one. They're able to just kind of do whatever. And because of that, maybe they were able to be like, you know, we like how we sounded back in the day. So that's what we're going back to. We really enjoy that sound, which if that's the case, I mean, I'm happy for them because I feel like every band should be able to do what they want to do. It just doesn't feel like a good evolution of the band. It doesn't feel like the band is growing up. It almost feels like a tribute to some of their older stuff more than anything else. So with all that said, I gotta give Rated R by Red a 6.6 out of 10. But I want to know what you guys think. If you've listened to Rated R, leave a comment below. Let me know what you thought of it. Let me know what you would rate it and what your favorite song is. And if you enjoyed this video and you want to continue seeing me in your YouTube feed, you want to help me out with YouTube's algorithm, please consider giving this video a like. That little thing does so much for me. And if you want to help support me and my channel, please consider subscribing and ringing the bell icon. Doing any of that stuff is just helps me out so much, and I appreciate it more than you guys could ever imagine. I appreciate you guys more than you could ever imagine. Thank you so much for just listening to me sit here and talk about music. And I hope you have a good rest of your day or night whenever you happen to be watching this. And I will talk to you guys next time.